This is part 6 of our video on fragments, and this is more specifically talking about menus. One of the nice things about going to a tablet view or even a normal phone view is the ability to have this menu bar up at the top. The Android guidelines, the quality guidelines, state that you should not have a splash screen and you should not take the user directly to a menu screen, but instead you should take the user to a screen that the users want to see about 80% of the time, and then give the user the option to go to a different screen. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a menu that will be visible on this screen, which is our GPS of plant screen. That same menu will be available if we go to our fragment view that's showing the list of plants that match a query and also the details that match that query. So I click on, and sorry, I have the debugger going right now. I'll go ahead and turn that off. I click on Eastern Redbud, and we'll give it a moment for the network to catch up, and it will show us on the right side details of the Eastern Redbud, and then we can click on another plant and it will show you it will show us that other plant. The trick is we're eventually going to want to get back to the search screen, and so we want to have a menu there, and specifically this is the GPS screen. There are some other screens that we can link to as well. So what we want to do to support a menu is we want to go down to the menu folder in our application, say new Android XML file, and here I'm going to say plant places menu. Root element will be menu, that's fine, and I'm going to say next, and we'll say finish. This will give us a little GUI tool where we can add individual menu items, which is what the user can see. Allow me to Control M so we can see this in high def. ID, we have two different menus that we want the user to be able to go to. An advanced search screen and a GPS a plant screen. So I'm going to say ID, we'll say MNU GPS a plant. Title, I've already made a title for us called LBL GPS a plant. Show as action, this is what I like. Never if room, always with text collapse action view. Always. Put that up if it's something that's important that you always want to show on that menu. If room, show only if room. And that's an important consideration because in a tablet we have all kinds of room. But in a traditional phone, not so much room. So if room is one where you can really take advantage of what you see on the tablet. Let's go ahead and say if room. Okay, on click, what happens when we click this? I'm going to say on MNU GPS a plant clicked. Now, that's important text, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to need to name a method after this later. I am going to paste that into another window so I don't forget what I put. So that's our GPS. Okay. GPS a plant. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to go under the covers to get that one. On MNU GPS a plant clicked. Okay, I'm going to copy, and I'm pasting that off camera here. We'll go back to our layout. Okay, let's make one more menu item. I think that's good enough for now. We have our title, we have our ID. That's pretty good. So GPS a plant. Okay, I'm going to say top level element item. And this next item, I'm going to say MNU advanced plant search. And you know, I think I'm going to need that in a little bit as well. So I'm going to copy that. Although I'll go under the covers and copy all of this. Okay, title. I'm going to hit browse. And I have an LBL plant search we can reuse for the title. Show as action. Let's go ahead and do if room again. And we'll choose OK. And the on click, the important on click, on advanced plant search clicked. Okay, and I'm going to choose save. And now let's go under the covers so I can grab some of these things. So the unique ID, MNU GPS a plant, I'm going to copy that, put that over in my notepad off camera here. Okay, MNU advanced plant search, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste that off camera as well. Okay, on advanced search plants clicked, I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of the screens where I want to add a menu. And let's see, so we go to GPS to plant activity. And what I'm going to do is Control M. And when we want to invoke the menu, we're going to say on Create Options menu. I will go ahead and let this autocomplete for me. Okay, and now what we need to do is we need to inflate the menu. So I'm going to call Get Menu Inflator, inflate r.menu.plant places menu, and we're going to inflate that into this menu object. Okay, I will take away this return, and then we will simply return true. And we'll do a little bit of housekeeping here. Control D and Control S. Okay, so this will create the menu. Now, how do we collect the options when the user clicks on one of those menus? Well, remember those method names I made before. I'm going to say public on menu GPS a plant clicked menu item, open curly, close curly. This method is what, oh sorry, public void. This method is invoked. This method is invoked when the user clicks on the menu option, on the related menu option. Okay, Control Shift O, organize imports. And now what I can say is I can say, okay, intent equals new intent, this comma, and then we're going to say, let's see, this is the GPS of plant activity, so GPS of plant activity.class. I've already registered this in the Android manifest. So if you haven't done that, you're going to need to register this activity in the Android manifest. I know I'm calling this from elsewhere, so I know I've already registered it. Start activity for result, or actually just start activity in this case, and we pass in that intent. That takes care of our MNU GPS of plant clicked. Now what about the plant search? Okay, well remember I copied public void. I copied that menu name, menu item. Okay, open curly, close curly. We're going to do something very similar. Intent equals new intent, this comma, plant search activity dot class, terminate with a semicolon, so that's the class we want to call. Start activity, and we're going to say intent. Now, here's the trick. This is the GPS a plant activity. And if we take a look at this, we can go ahead and run it and make sure that it's going to run properly. So debug as Android application, and we'll throw this right on the tablet. What we're going to find though is that this menu option only exists on that GPS of plant activity, and it goes away once we attempt to select any other activity. We don't want that. Let's see, we'll get on the screen here. We want this menu to be the same on all activities. So we'll let this load. We'll give it a moment to load. And we'll also give that a test to make sure that it actually does what we want to do. Okay, so here we go. This is our GPS of plant screen. Now notice two things that are kind of ugly. First of all, we have a link to the same screen. That violates the Android principle of only show the users the options that are relevant at this time. It doesn't make sense to have a menu item to go exactly where we already are. The second thing is I go to plant search, and fingers crossed that takes me to a different screen, although it looks like it, oh, there we go. Yeah, it takes me to a different screen. Notice when I go on this other screen, and I just mistakenly clicked a little too far, but notice when I go on this other screen, there's no menu anymore. That menu is something that we only placed in one place, and that is our GPS of plant screen. Okay, let me see if I can go back here. So we need to share this menu in more than one location. And here we go. Here's that advanced search screen. Notice no menu on it whatsoever. No menu on that at all. The only menu that we have is when we go to that GPS of plant screen, it shows up over here. So, also from the GPS of plant screen, when we do a plant search, okay, so here you see the menu. Okay, if I do a plant search, if I say redbud, and I hit search, and with a capital E, it might not take that actually, but that's okay. When we go to our next screen, we're going to see once again the menu has disappeared. So what do we have? We have common logic that we want to share across classes. What do we want to do? Do we want to copy and paste this across classes? Gosh, I sure hope not. What we want to do is we want to put this in a common superclass, and this is where some of Eclipse's refactoring tools come in really handy. So what I can do is I can take this on Create Options menu. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say Refactor, and I'm going to say Extract Superclass. Okay, what that's going to do, this class, GPS Plant Activity, currently extends from Activity. What I'm doing is I'm introducing a class between GPS Plant Activity and Activity. And that class is going to be named Plant Base Activity. And I'm going to say, what do I want to extract? I'm going to say the three methods I just made on Create Options menu, and then the two methods that actually go to a menu. I'm going to choose Next, and I'm going to choose Finish. Okay, disconnect from the debugger. And what we're going to see is that it's going to take those methods, it's going to push them up into a new class called Plant Base Activity. So this used to say Activity, now it says Plant Base Activity. Let's go up to Plant Base Activity, and here's the onCreate method. Here are those two methods that actually open the activity I wish to open. Very cool. Okay, now let's refactor a bit more. I'm going to go to, let's see, the plant search activity, and watch this. Instead of having it extend activity, I'm going to have it extend plant base activity. And voila, with just that, we've now moved the menu over to our search screen as well. Oh, that was fun. Let me go to our fragments that we defined before, Plant Results Manager. This extends from activity, okay, plant base activity, and Control S. Okay, Control Shift R, Plant Detail Manager. That extends from activity. Now we're going to make it plant base activity. And with this, Control M, right click, Debug as Android application. Let's throw this on the tablet. And what we should see here is we should see that our menu now reaches all of our screens in our application. This is one place where the list fragment has a significant advantage over a list activity, because a list activity has to extend from a class called list activity. So we don't have this option to make a common activity that's generic to several different subclasses where we can share the menu. With the fragment, because we've decoupled the list fragment from the owning activity or the managing activity, we do have this capability to make a common class. So we take a look. I'm currently on the GPS plant screen. I click Plant Search, and fingers crossed, that should take me over to the Plant Search screen. And sure enough, we're on the Plant Search screen. Okay, look now. See, I now have this menu. I click GPS Plant, and that's going to take me over to the GPS Plant screen. And we'll give that just a moment. Okay, GPS Plant screen. Type in our friend Redbud, and we're going to hit Search. And we'll give that a moment. That will go to our master detail activity, and take a look. This is what really gets me excited. The menu still exists on that master detail activity. So we'll give that a moment to load. And now while that's loading, I'll show you that the tablet has room for both of these menu options. But if we go back and we take a look at the phone is only showing one. So that's what the if room means. Now, because it's only showing one, we want to be careful of what we're showing. And this is where I say it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to show the GPS plant menu option when we're already on GPS plant. You can still go to the little three dots here and see the other menu options, but nonetheless, that's confusing. That's complicated to the user. So how do we fix that? Well, we can use a technique that's very interesting and not always understood in Android. I'm sorry, in object-oriented programming. I go to my plant base activity, and what I want to do in this onCreate method is I want to be able to pull a menu item off of the menu. But there's a major trick here. I'm in the superclass. how do I know what screen I'm on? Because I want to pull off the menu item for the current screen, but if I put my mouse cursor on plant-based activity and Control T, we'll see that that is implemented by 4 different screens. So how do I know which one I'm on? Well, this concept of abstract class will allow me to do this. If I add the word abstract to this definition, I now have the privilege of making an abstract method. And I can call that public abstract get menu ID. Boom. Abstract method means I only define, sorry, we'll make that an int because the menu ID is an int. Abstract method means I only define the method signature and I leave the implementation up to the class that is extending this class. I'll leave it up to the subclass. So what I can do here is I can call this method. Now this is really interesting. You see I've defined the method here. I'll put some Javadoc on it. This method will return the unique menu ID for the specific screen that the subclass defines. Hopefully I didn't make that too wordy. Okay, what I can do here is I can invoke getMenuID. Notice that. See, that's what we can do when we define an abstract method. We can define it at the subclass layer, but the superclass layer. But what's more important is we can also call it at that same layer. So Control 1, assign to new variable, int menuid equals getMenuID. Let's say if menuid is not equal to 0, okay, then we're going to remove it. So we'll leave 0 as kind of like I don't have a menu ID. Then we're going to say menu.remove item menu ID. Easy as that. Okay, Control S. Now here's a trick. I disconnect from the debugger. Okay, so I will say remove the menu ID for the current screen if it has a menu ID. Okay, I'm going to save. Now here's the trick. I Control M and take a look at something. Suddenly I have red lines all over. And that's because every class that extends this class now has to implement that method. So for GPS of plant activity, I say add on implemented method. This method implementation is going to be ridiculously easy. Get menu ID, whoops. For get menu ID, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say return r.id. Okay, we're in GPS of plant. Remember that that ID I said we were going to need to remember? r.id.mnu GPS of plant. There we go. In the GPS of plant screen, we are going to return the menu ID for GPS of plant. And suddenly no more red line. Okay, plant search, mouse over, add unimplemented methods, and what's the menu ID we're going to return here? r.id.mnu advanced plant search, and save. Okay, our 2 fragments wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to have a menu to go there because we have to go down a breadcrumb trail to get there. Search, search results, result details. We can't jump straight to details unless we've done that search. We can't jump straight to results unless we've done that search. So for these, I'm simply going to return 0, which means it's going to show all methods. So that's fine, return 0. And finally, Plant Detail Manager, mouse over, add on implemented methods, and return 0, and save. And now, no more cavities, everything builds. Debug as Android application, and let's try this one more time. I go to the tablet, and we'll give this a moment to load. And while we're there, I'll also go ahead and load it on the phone. We'll see which one comes up first. So debug as Android application, and we'll put this new build on the phone as well. Okay, tablet's rendering. Okay, now take a look at the difference. Take a look at the difference. We're on the GPS screen, and look, the only menu option you see is plant search. I click on plant search, and we are going to go to the plant search screen, and the only menu option you will see there is GPS of plant. So you see, we're on the plant search screen, and the only method and the only menu option you see is GPS of plant. We go to GPS a plant. We're going to go right back where we started just a minute ago. We'll go ahead and search for our friend, our favorite red bud, and red bud. I choose search. This takes us over to our master detail view. And what we're going to expect to see here, and indeed we do see here, is both menu items, because this is one of the activities that is returning a 0, which means don't suppress any menu items, show all of them. Now what we're going to do, just to reinforce this a bit, I'm going to go to plant-based activity. I am going to set a breakpoint on the onCreate options menu. And I'm here in the GPS of plant screen. I'm going to click the plant search screen. Let's watch this abstract class in action. I click on plant search, and with any luck, I go to debug. Okay, my breakpoint stops. Now pay very careful attention to where I am. You see plant-based activity is the tab that's lit up. What we're showing here in the debugger is that we're in plant-based activity, but actually the object type is plant search activity, the subclass plant search activity. That's the screen we're going to. I step over one line at a time, and what it's doing is it's inflating that menu, and now it's going to call get menu ID. Now again, very careful here. I'm in plant-based activity, and specifically what is get menu ID? It's this abstract method right here. And notice I'm calling it from a concrete method up above. So what happens when I choose step into? What happens when I choose step into on an abstract method? Watch the tabs across the top as I choose step into. When I choose step into, it goes to the subclass plant search activity, and it goes down to that class's implementation, and that's saying, hey, I am the advanced plant search. So we come back, I step over, it says, okay, well, advanced plant search, and some, integer that doesn't really mean anything to us. It's really just that it's a constant, it's an ID. It invokes the remove item method, and then it says, okay, thank you, I'm all done. Go ahead, render the screen. Now we come over, here's the advanced search screen, and there is GPS a plant. So, abstract methods, refactor, extract superclass, these are things that we can use that are constructions in Java, and they derive directly to the Android quality guidelines of enchant, simplify, and amaze. Simplify the user's life by not overcomplicating things. Show only buttons that are relative in that context. Similar to a concept of user experience called progressive disclosure. So don't overcomplicate the user's view. Don't throw too much at the user at once. Give the user only what is relevant in that state. So hope you've enjoyed the video. As always, I welcome your questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, and jokes. The source for this project is freely available on GitHub. Look at the comments in YouTube to see the source. Thank you.